I want to. Well, first off, I'm gonna. You, did you start a party already on PlayStation or?
I did not know. Are we switching now?
And if you want.
Well, leave the Skype call open because I want to show you a little something. Little.
Oh my god.
Rob, you can hang up.
No,
Rob.
no. This is actually personal. This is a little something. Well, I don't know. Someone that I have met or I know. Just want to leave it at that.
I wonder
You can-
how I can.
You can leave at any time, Rob. You start a party, I'll join you.
I'll wait to see what Stizzy has, and then I'll.
Oh,
go.
you. This is the internet's worst gaming podcast, and I am your host, Loki Jarson. And holy shit, after a year's absence, Joe Stizzy is back. Hi, Stizzy.
Hi, Loki.
Oh my god, after even longer's absence, Rob is back. Hi, Rob.
Hi. Nice to be back.
It's been literal years since you've recorded with us. Stizzy and I did a show at the end of 2019 talking about the best games of the generation. Of course, then a bunch of good games came out in 2020, and we probably should add them onto there real quick. So, Stizzy, just real quick, add them on.
All the games that came out in 2020. Okay.
No,
Games
all
of
the
the
ones that are
generation.
worthy of being best of the
I
generation.
get you. Well, the top two I would say that came out last year would be Ghost of Tsushima for sure, and I don't know if this
We all agree.
counts, but it's Final Fantasy VII Remake because well, yeah.
You put Resident Evil 2 remake in the last thing, so yes, it counts.
It's true. It's just this generation. Yeah, it's not.
Yes.
It's not. I don't know if it would be the same in my all-time list, but it's a different game. It's part of a older game, so yeah, those are two I would definitely put in some of the best game of this generation. It went out with a bang, the PS4.
2020 was a horrible year for many, many reasons, but a lot of really great games came out, and it was a transitional year between the PlayStation 4, Xbox One era into the PlayStation 5, which none of us have, Xbox Series S and Series X era. So a lot of the games we could say, I don't want to make this a best of the year show, really, but a lot of the games we could say that came out in 2020 are probably going to be better played on those next gen systems anyways.
Yes.
I mean, for sure, yeah. If they
Well, yeah.
provide the next gen update, of course.
Like, I really liked Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Spider-Man Miles Morales to varying degrees, but I'm sure when I eventually upgraded systems, they'll be better games. So I'd like to count them as those games, even though I played them on the older systems. I don't know. Transitional years are weird years.
I think if a game.
Sorry,
I was gonna say I in my mind I count it as if a game comes out after those consoles released, then I think you can put them in that category even if were built for the old systems or cross-platform, if you will.
dual releases, yeah. Before we get too negative for the thing I'm sure Rob wants to talk about, we can all agree that Ghost of Tsushima was a great game, and we all had fun playing it. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
This is one of those rare games that there's like 5 in history where we've all three of us have 100%ed it. It does not happen very often.
Well, not only that, it's even rarer that we all three find a game that we all really enjoyed.
Yeah.
To varying degrees, but overall, yeah, it seems like we all really, really enjoyed that game because it was fantastic.
In the previous episode that I recorded with my brother, which will be out before this one, so that's how that sentence will make sense. I talked about I don't want to judge games as one better than the other anymore. Like, I really liked Ghost of Tsushima. I liked Final Fantasy VII Remake more, but I'm not willing to say that one is definitively better than the other. This deserves Game of the Year, and that doesn't. If you guys want to, that's up to you. But I don't want to be like this is objectively better than this because I had more fun. It's just more fun.
We could, hey, I understand you. It's very hard to rank games like that. Um, but if I did have the idea, maybe we could in the future, if we ever do, if we keep going this podcast thing, we might separate them into categories. For instance,
Mm.
best action, best RPG, best open world, what have you.
I'd be okay. I'd be kind of okay with that. Yeah. But it's kind of a rant. I don't know if you're familiar with these. It's kind of a rant I did of where video games have become movies where we have several different award shows and all these awards need to go to different categories of things to objectively say one game is better than the other. And I don't want to do that anymore.
No, we wouldn't. I'm not talking about doing 14 or 15 categories, maybe 5 or 6 at the most. And if you want to avoid having a overall game of the year, because I'm sure that would be different for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we, like I said earlier, we have enough time finding a game we all enjoy, much less a game we all enjoy that took place in the same calendar year.
Yes, not, and that's mostly because not you guys, Rob doesn't play games released in the calendar year. Rob, you
Yes.
played 3 games that were released in 2020. Am I right? Exactly 3.
Oh, I. That sounds about right, but I don't remember exactly.
I will tell you exactly what they are. They were Last of Us Part 2, they were Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they were Ghost of Tsushima. Fall Guys does not count as a game.
Okay.
Call of Duty Warzone does also not count as a game.
Don't
I
doubt that
wouldn't
to
have
the
counted that.
people who made it.
The one guy, who annoyed me on
Was it
Twitter.
one guy? Was it a one-man studio
Yeah,
who made Fall Guys?
I think so.
Really?
I think
I
so.
didn't know that. Okay.
Super Hot Mind Control Delete. There you go. Boom. 4.
DLC.
That's not DLC. It's a whole game.
It's expand alone.
Oh, that's another
It
thing. Is
counts.
I don't. If we're doing a game of the year or best of awards or not, I don't know if DLC should. What I'm saying is, I don't
DLC
think.
does not count. No. In our
Yes, I don't
previous
think we'll make
episodes,
a
it didn't.
category of it, but there are times where DLC is just so great,
Actually,
and it.
I think in previous years we have done it so that you can't win. It can't win Game of the Year, but it can be like
What?
one of the lower rankings.
You are right, Rob. What was the DLC you had in mind? Because you have something specific in mind.
Are you talking to me or Stizzy?
Stizzy, you had the specific DLC in mind, which is why you brought that up.
Oh no. I mean, I'm just saying in the. For instance, in the past, like The Witcher 3's DLC was phenomenal, and it was better than some.
Yeah, I had that on my list. Yeah.
It's like better than
Yeah,
some base games I've played and what have you. I'm just saying if there's ever a DLC like that, that's just expansion or a very large piece that is just so great, and we just have to mention it. I forgot. Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
totally.
Rob was right. I forgot we decided that it can be on your list, but not your number one. So
Similar to how we done previous years game releases, like you can't have a 2018 game as your 2020 game of the year, but you could have it on your list.
Because if we allowed that, you'd probably pick Division 2 as your favorite game of 2020.
Probably.
In the very long time since we've recorded, we played through the entirety of Division 2 um,
Well, I have.
yesterday. No, you, I, and him all did every story mission.
Technically, I don't think. Well, I think if unless you're counting I think if you count the strongholds, which is part of the story, we have not done all of it.
Is it though?
Yes, there is. I mean, is there really much story in the game? To be honest, no.
No.
yeah,
But
the
technically,
last
that is the end game.
the last thing I remember is getting right up to the point when the strongholds became available. But
Yeah, and you had already mentally checked out by that
yeah,
point, way
well,
before.
it didn't help that I my game crashed right before we were finishing the very
Oh
last
yeah,
mission, and that was a constant issue for me playing that game. So it did not help with my experience, but luckily I was able to turn in and get the experience and whatnot.
it
But
wasn't like Destiny 2 where you just weren't having fun. You were technically fucked by it.
Was the game
yes,
crashing or were you losing internet connection?
it was mostly internet.
It's both, I
Yeah, it
thought.
was both, but I think it was mostly just my internet just crapping out. But um, it was like Division and for Destiny are similar games to me where there's flashes of fun that I have every once in a while, but it just it's just a drudge the rest of it for me. It's just getting from the one just trying to get to that one little spark of fun the next time, and it's just I don't know. A lot of more games I can play. It's just too many hours.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's a oh, what the fuck game was I playing? Oh, the Yakuza series. I mentioned this. There, I was saying this use is that in five, I found a certain segment of the game a chore to play through. Like it sucked and there's no fun. But I thought the narrative outweighed the chore to get through. And this is something we've talked about off there a lot. It's like, what is the break point between where a game is no longer fun, but you're invested, so you've got to see it through?
Yeah, it definitely depends on the person. I think it's and the game you're playing, but I think that's kind of a trait. Yeah, not just some gamers have, but a lot of people have. I know I have, where I just there's some things if I'm invested enough, then I will see it through to the end. And whether what form that investment takes, whether it's my enjoyment of the story or the characters, gameplay, or just the time I've put into the game, and
Hmm.
I don't want that to feel wasted. But yeah, I definitely know what you mean. 2020 was
Yeah.
an outlier for me because it was a year where I did not play a Yakuza game, but I did play Judgment, even though they came out
This is a
the
spin-off,
year before.
2019.
But and that might be my favorite of the uh, Ria Gakutoku. I can never
Ryogo Gotoku.
Ryogo
Ryogo
Gotoku.
Gotoku.
Yes, I always mess up their name.
Judgment. Judgment was my default 2019 game of the year. I may have gone back and fixed that, but I really Judgment is a really solid game. The problem with all of their games, and I don't even know that's a problem. It depends on your enjoyment. Is you get in a lot of random street fights because that's what the game is. It is random street fight until you get to the next narrative moment, and sometimes you help a person, and usually you're helping them by getting into random street fights.
Yeah, one negative I've heard of the latest Yakuza Like a Dragon. I believe they dropped the seven, at least in the Western.
They did.
Is it's a traditional Japanese RPG, turn-based RPG, and like all the other Yakuza games, you're still getting in a shit ton of fights, and but it's made even more excruciating on Like a Dragon because it is turn-based. You can't just run away. You gotta like
Yeah.
auto battle. You gotta fight through it. You just gotta sit there and fight. And I thought, oh man, it's everything else sounds about the game sounds fantastic. I have not gotten because I mean, I'm on three. I just started three, so I want to make my way up.
You're a little behind. Yeah.
But I don't think it has anything to do with the other ones. But
No.
yeah, that's another one I hope I get to. Maybe not this year, but soon, because I've heard good things.
2022.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like Rob. I've played a lot of old games this year, and I've enjoyed
Hmm.
them. And not just, and I've played some old games on my PS3. I've dusted off the old PS3 and DS, 3DS, pop some classics in. So there's never a bad time to play games you're interested in. It's just because there's just so many of them. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
So many of them.
You do not need to tell. You are preaching to the preacher at this point. I am well aware of how many games there are and how many I play.
Yeah.
Uh, Meanwhile, Rob, uh, even though it's been a long time since you've been on the show, you have still not stopped playing Battlefield.
No, I'm addicted and it's fine.
Why? Why not? Why have you not stopped?
Is it the same one?
Because Battlefield is a unique multiplayer experience that I can't get in any other game,
Okay.
and it's good. And I get pissed off at it because I'm competitive,
I'll
but
agree with your first sentiment. That is a unique experience you can't get anywhere else. Certainly.
at least on console, I should say. I'm sure some PC players will say there's way better games out there, but I haven't found them on
Yeah, PC
console.
gaming.
I'm not really up to speed with most just PC exclusive FPSs, but I know the the more popular FPSs still have a big user base on the PC. Because I'm sure Battlefield especially is a you know pretty amazing game to play or look at on the PC. Is it? Are you? Is it? Which one are you playing? You playing Battlefield 5?
Mostly
Or
nowadays, I play Battlefield 5. Sometimes I'll go back and dabble in Battlefield 1 because that was like my favorite
Dabble.
shooter of this of the last generation of consoles, which I'm still on. So my current generation of consoles.
It's
Um,
fair.
but yeah, mostly Battlefield 5, which was the
hashtag my
most recent
generation?
installment. Yes.
Yeah, that Who song.
Yeah, I think 1 was the last time I played, and I believe you played as well, Loki.
I did. I also played a little bit of 5, but I got real mad and never wanted to play again. So I have not yet. But I didn't get mad at multiplayer shenanigans. I got mad at single player shenanigans because I over these last couple of months here, I've mentioned to you guys that I would like to get back into a multiplayer style game, but I know I'm bad at all of them, so I'm not terribly concerned about winning. So when I was like, so when I say I want to get into a multiplayer game, what I'm saying is I want to get into a multiplayer game without you, and I don't want you to take offense at that.
Are you? I'm guessing you're pointing at Rob right now.
I'm pointing at both of you
Yeah.
because Rob likes to win, and I understand that. That's fine if he wants to win. Cool. I know that I'm not going to win all the time, and I've accepted that. He gets mad, but Stizzy, when you lose, you know this. You don't get angry. You get sad. You get depressed. It is like a drunk, right? Some people, when they get drunk, they're super fun to be around, like, they're happy and fun. And some people, like me, when they get drunk, are the saddest sacks you ever done seen.
I'm very much a happy drunk. Sometimes
I know, no, 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 no. But in a multiplayer video game, when you lose, you get sad drunk.
It gets quiet.
yeah, I do get quiet, and it's not just because I'm sad. Sometimes I am mad also.
Yeah, I know, but you're internalizing that anger. You're not outwardly expressing it like
Unlike
Rob.
me, we're
You know what I
polar
mean?
opposites when it comes to this.
yes,
Expression wise, in terms of anger. Yeah, sure.
I am. It's definitely something I picked up from my father. Um,
I'm not calling it as a negative. I'm just saying this is what
no, no,
I've
no, no.
observed over.
I know what you talk. I know what you mean. It's definitely something I got from my dad, and we don't we don't share a lot of the same personality traits because he's a much quieter person than I am. But I'm he's also like that. When he's mad, he'll get quiet. You know, because he won't say a word. And it's for me, it's not just that I'm mad. It's got to be a certain stage. It's just got to be it's past a certain point. Like if I'm just
Mhm.
pissed off, then yeah, I'll yell and rant and rave. But if I'm like super really mad, then yeah, I just won't say anything because I know if I do, I'm gonna regret it. But
That break point we talked about earlier, you've passed it.
yes, yeah, no, if I internalize everything, then yes. But and that's it's not really a reason why I avert playing PvP online games or whatnot. I just I just got to find the right game. For a while, it was for
Yeah, I'm still looking for the right
yeah,
game.
for me it was Overwatch for a while, but after almost 400 hours of playing that, mostly by myself, just with randoms.
Yeah.
Um, because y'all never really picked up on it. But yeah, it's got a it's getting a little old. I dive in once in a while, but it's hard to find that game sometimes.
We have recently played a multiplayer game together. That's a weird sentence that doesn't make any sense. Recently, help me out here, one of you two.
You've recently played a multiplayer game.
So rather than playing player versus player, we've been playing, trying to find a good co-op game for all of us to play versus AI enemies. One of the ones we've done lately is World War Z, which I think came out in what 2019.
Yes, PVE, if
It
you
is
will.
yes, it is loosely based on the movie that was loosely based on the book written by uh, Mel Brooks's kid. It is Left 4 Dead, but in third person. Who would like to elaborate?
It's a solid game. Um,
It's not elaboration.
well, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty accurate description. It's pretty much like Left 4 Dead in third person, but I'd say it's more interesting because it's got a lot bigger hordes, and that's probably the major selling point of the game. Is just like the number of enemies you see on
They make
screen.
it they make it purposefully so that you feel overwhelmed, and that is certainly the case every time we've played.
Yeah, and I think they do a good job of that, and it's just fun because I don't know. Well, I should say there are some annoying things about the game, like the fact that it feels like it's a very grindy game. So you're having to progress, level up weapons and your own abilities for your class, and it seems like you get very little XP per round, and if you lose, then you get almost a very small amount of XP. So it makes it feel like you basically got done nothing if you lose a round or die in the middle of a mission.
Mm.
Um, but I still enjoy it. I mean, it's not a game you want to play like all the time, but
It's very stressful.
Yeah, it's definitely a game to be played with friends and to be played repeatedly. And I like it more than Left 4 Dead because, as far as can remember, Left 4 Dead didn't really have much of a story or objectives other than get from point A to point B. But in World War Z, they at least try that. It's not just going around shooting zombies. Sometimes you're rescuing someone or protecting someone, or
Yeah, there's a ton of dialogue. It's mostly incidental, but there's a lot of talking.
yeah, or you're defending a point or what have you. And there aren't really any designated save points, but there are safe rooms like in the Left 4 Dead
Mhm.
games. But there are certain places where the action is lulled and it's not much going on. But they always, even when there's not hordes of zombies, there always seems like there's stragglers around. So you can't you got to stay on your toes for most of the level. But it's better than I thought it'd be. I'm having more fun than I expected to.
I just don't like the loss of progress. My biggest gripe when we near the end of one of the missions, and literally like near the end, we were almost done, and then we all died for various reasons, and it's like, well, there's no checkpointing, so you have to do that whole 20-minute thing, 30-minute thing all over again, and I was not having that.
No, that is definitely aggravating for sure. I'm, yeah, agreeing with you on that.
get good.
Fuck
That
you.
uh, th-
Let's not.
that is that's something to take in mind. But we have gotten good. We've gotten better. Let's leave
We
that
yes
up.
we have played it a little bit more than Loki has, but yeah. And another dimension of it that makes it more interesting than Left 4 Dead is that, particularly in survival mode, but also in the main story missions, is they have traps and stuff you can set up in certain locations. So I don't think Left 4 Dead ever really did that. So you can have like
No.
electric fences and turrets, automatic turrets, or turrets that you can shoot, and mortars and stuff like that that you can set up that makes it so you're able to kill these hordes more effectively. And that's an interesting thing. I also like the fact that uh, since it's based on the movie slash books, it takes place. There's like locations all over the world that it takes place in, so it's a nice variety of locations. It's not all just one setting.
Oh,
And characters too. Every map has its own set of four various peoples.
yeah, that is a very nice touch. Yeah, I don't think Left 4 Dead really had a traditional horde mode where you uh, are
No.
defending
I
a
think
certain
they added
point.
one in later. They did add a survival mode, I believe.
Oh yeah, was that something Valve added, or was that one of those mods that
No, they added it
Valve?
because I remember playing it.
Uh,
But I think it was like one of those. It was like when Horde mode first sort of became really popular, they added it in. But it was different because traditional Horde mode took forever in Gears of War and Nazi zombies and Call of Duty took forever. But this Left 4 Dead mode, I think you could die. It was like it started getting impossible around 10 minutes in.
yeah, I want to say there was a fan made mod that let you make your own levels with different types of enemies and different. You could set the number of enemies or whatever, and you could kind of make your own Left 4 Dead level that gained a lot of traction, so much that I think Valve even endorsed it, but I can't think of.
That would be a Valve staple is to take something a fan made and buy it for their own self and sell it for their own self. That's what Valve does. Also censoring games. That's also a thing Valve does.
I
Uh,
don't know if they. I
because
don't remember if they bought the property. I can't remember. This was like a couple, right Left 4 Dead
this is the
2
same
was
thing that
around.
happened to Portal. The Portal and Team Fortress 2, I think, because it's completely different, and some other damn thing. Oh, Counter Strike Go. All of these were fan ideas, and Valve's like mine.
Yeah, Black Mesa, I believe, was also fan made.
Yeah.
Um,
But hey, now we've got Half-Life Alyx, and you can play it entirely in VR, and everybody likes it, except all the people who don't have VR.
yeah, it's. I would like to play that someday. That came out in 2020, I believe.
Yes, it
Yeah,
did.
it wasn't anything we played, but because I don't think any of us have VR.
None of us have fucking access to
Uh,
VR. It's still crazy expensive. And the Oculus Rift is basically off the radar because you need a Facebook account every time you log into it. So that's not going to happen.
really? I never heard that.
Yes, Facebook bought Oculus, and then a year into their requirement of it, they said, okay, from now on, every time you want to use your Oculus, you have to log into Facebook.
That's crazy. That's stupid.
Well, they need to sell your information to companies somehow. Come on, guys, got to
Yeah,
eat.
just have
Mark Zuckerberg got to eat too.
I guess have my name, my address, occupation, and photos of me and my family aren't enough.
No, internet privacy is a real problem that we do not have the capacity to go into today, or knowledge. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's for sure. Barely have knowledge of the things we do talk about.
Rob, do you want to talk about Tulu at all? I'll give you this
Speaking of
opportunity.
zombies, yes,
All right.
there's
I'm gonna shut up. You talk as long as you want, and you let me know when you're done.
okay.
Can I
So that
talk?
was a game that came out. You may interject if you'd like.
Okay, I
I
haven't
don't know what
played
you would
it,
have to
but I
say,
just
but
I haven't played it, but I just wanted to see if I could talk if Loki's not.
well, thank you for that input. Um, so yeah, I would include this if I had a say in the games of the generation, which I did not because I did not participate in that episode. This would be in there. I will say that Last of Us Part One is my favorite game of all time, and this game did not exceed the expectations of the first game, but it was still solid. Um, it was a very long game, which I did not particularly enjoy the length. It was like about 30 hours long. Um, and I think the first game was around 12, maybe 12 hours, 12, 15 hours. So I did not particularly enjoy the length, and I think that sort of made the game drag on a little bit and decreased my enjoyment of it. But in terms of gameplay, it's a huge improvement on the first game. There's a lot more stealth elements and more varieties of ways to uh, fight people and more different weapon types and different customizations you can add to your weapons that were not available in the first game. Um, there was this guy. There's like the thing on Twitter. This guy who like he'd create gifs basically or small short clips of like these amazing like highlights of like kills he would do in Last of Us 2, and it was like I never ever tried to be that creative in the game, but you can be very creative with the combat if you want to. But I end up just like sort of crawling around and trying to headshot people with guns and knock them out silently. It's never as interesting as what this guy does, but I wish I'd played more creatively. In terms of story, it's a very controversial game, but I don't know if I want to go into all the details. Let's just say that I thought it was fine. I did not hate it. I didn't love it as much as the first game, but I think it's a solid follow up. I hope they don't do anymore. I want them to be done with the franchise because I don't think they need to make any more story. I think the story with Joel and Ellie has been taken to its conclusion, and I don't want them. I don't want anything else to happen to them.
Can I interject real quick, Rob?
Sure.
Do we really? No, I mean I'm not trying to bash the game or your opinion, but does a game of generation do really describe them as solid and fine? I mean, shouldn't we be kind of setting the bar a little bit higher for our best? I mean, it's your list. I mean, nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying.
I would say it is because when I'm comparing it to the first game, which I put above every other game ever. So for me, even though if it doesn't reach the heights of the first game, I'd still think the story is better than most of the games I played. The voice acting and the voice, or I should say the acting, the capture, motion capture and acting and voice and everything, the writing, just it's always miles above. I feel almost all our developers. There's obviously some exceptions in with that, um, but in
Yeah,
terms of the
Loki
gameplay,
said.
I think it's
Sorry, I was just saying. Loki typed what I was thinking from a technical standpoint. Yes, Naughty Dog is up there with the elites. It's them, Rockstar. There's probably some others I'm not thinking of, but yes, technically they are extremely sound. And
and I will say that also for the story, obviously there's parts of it that I didn't like and it did drag on a bit, but there's also some really impactful, poignant moments throughout the game that I still think about sometimes. So I'm being a bit I'm not giving the game its due whatever you want to say just rewards for some of the stuff that it because I'm not going into it's hard to go into details because you guys haven't actually played it, so you can't really have much of a discussion about it. But um, the game I think was really good, and the story was good for the most part. There was some things that brought it down. Unlike the first game, I just felt like it was perfect in terms of story. There wasn't anything to really complain about for me. But this game did have some complaints, but doesn't mean it wasn't what I would consider to be a highlight of the generation.
no, that's definitely fair. I've seen, like you said, I haven't played the game. I've seen the bullet points, which is not it's not the best way to consume a story like that. There's a lot more uh, things to go into storytelling, but I haven't played it. I really enjoyed the first one. It's not my favorite game of all time, but um, the second one, at least, you talk about the gameplay, and even though I haven't played it, I have watched clips, and it does seem extremely visceral. And it's one of the few games where watching a character's death, not like a main character, but just like some random enemy or something, made me uncomfortable. It was very whether it was the sounds or their reaction or what have you, it felt I thought to myself sometimes, man, that was a little too real. And that's always something I've always wondered because I've been playing games for most of my life. And I was years ago I would think, is there ever going to be a point where I'd be uncomfortable with games? And it has happened before Last of Us 2, but yeah, there was some where I was just like, man, there's some creative and pretty gruesome ways you can kill people. So they uh they definitely went all out on the graphics and the mocap and sound design and the soundtrack. I've listened to the soundtrack too a little bit, not the whole thing, but it's I can't remember the composer's name off the top of my head. If I
Gustavo Santaolalla.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Did he do the first game's soundtrack?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
right. Yeah. Yeah, that's he knocked it out of the park with the main theme, and I think he did a great job again with this one. But it's definitely a game I'll need to check out in the future.
I hope so. Nice. It would be nice to have somebody else to talk to about it, but I don't want to force anybody. It's hard. It is hard. It's a game. I've only played it once, which is odd for me because Last of Us Part Two or Last of Us Part One I played about 4 or 5 times. I think. I mean, after I finished it the first time, I think I immediately restarted again. And with this game, I couldn't. I didn't want to do that. One because of the length. Like I said, it was a bit of a slog to get through, but um, or it felt like that. But it's also just because it's a very emotionally taxing game, particularly with what happens within the game, um, story wise, and also just the time that like the times that we're living in. I didn't really want to play a game where I'm like just constantly emotionally overworked. I guess you could say emotionally exhausted. Maybe be another word for it. Um, so if when I do play it again, I don't know if my opinion will change at all when I play it again. I'm sure it will a little bit, but that's also why I haven't tried it a second time yet. So it might be better in a time period where everything isn't as dark.
Yeah. The games like The Last of Us are definitely in a different category where most of the time when we play video games, we're looking to unwind and relax. And um, Loki, you want to?
Can I come back
Yeah,
now?
yeah, yeah. I don't know if you. I don't
You
know.
may speak.
Sorry.
Okay, so here's the only thing I'm going to say about this, and then we'll take a short break. Then I'm going to edit this part out. I have to practice what I preach, right? I have to believe what I say and adhere to it. I believe the opinion of the individual outweighs the opinion of the mass. So ultimately, Rob, it doesn't matter what my opinion of a thing I haven't played is. What matters to you is your opinion. And if you enjoy it, then you enjoy it. And that's what matters, man. That's the point of all of this. So there you go.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yeah.
In addition to Destiny 2, which we've basically finished, right? We all are. I mean, Rob, you're still playing a little bit,
As
but
much as you
we.
can theoretically finish the game. Well, no, well, I guess not because we haven't done the raid, but we're never going to do that. So
When that's not going to happen. I'm never doing a
we've
raid
completed
again,
all
ever
story
again.
content that we have purchased within the
Which means
game.
we're done. There's nothing. Alexander wept. There's nothing left to do in
Yay!
Destiny 2.
Raise the
You
victory
liked it
flag.
you liked it. It's just the lore and the requirements for to do silly things were awful.
And repeating environments and terrible weapon drops. Other than that, yeah. I mean, what's not to love?
If you were forced to play only one game for the rest of your life, to be Division 2 or Destiny 2, pick one.
Well, I think I tried killing myself a few times, but if that didn't work, then I guess Destiny.
You did kill yourself. You're in hell. You're forced to either play Destiny 2 or Division 2.
Oh no.
We
Um,
also, very briefly, and we're going to have to go back at some point, played the Elder Scrolls Online again.
Yay.
Uh, there
This is
was
my payback for Destiny 2 and Division 2.
fucker. There was a period where we all played the
hey,
free
hey,
version of
hey.
the game.
That's not fair. I played enough of Destiny to know I don't like it.
That's true.
I don't think you've not
That's true.
played enough Elder Scrolls.
That's true.
That's how you
I'll give
hated
it a
it.
shot.
That's all we ask.
Uh, I previously talked about it a little bit with my brother on an older episode, but yeah, it's another MMO, and instead of with guns and shooting them, you got magic and axes because the fucking Elder Scrolls. It's Skyrim again, except you guys bought a version that has DLC that I don't have for money reasons, so it's difficult to get us all in the same area because it's not
Well,
intuitive in any way.
yeah, I'm still confused about how that happened because when that sale, we bought it on a sale,
I
and
had already owned the game. I own it. It is on a disc. I have it on the Blu-ray disc.
right.
In
Right.
addition, at some point years ago, I also bought the Morrowind expansion.
Okay. All right. I didn't know that. I forgot it.
Oh,
But when I
okay.
asked you which one we should
Uh-huh.
buy, you said the
Uh-huh.
get the $20 one. Now, I believe, and I
You
can't.
were under the impression that I was also buying that?
Yes, because I
Oh,
didn't know you had the base game in Morrowind.
I apologize. I thought I had made it clear that I had the base and Morrowind already. I did not, apparently. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. Well, this explains a lot of things. But we did buy
Yes.
the $20 version, and
You you technically own the base game of Elder Scrolls Online, the DLC for Morrowind, the DLC for Grey something or other. I've already forgotten what it's called.
Greymore, I believe.
Yes, and I
Uh,
think Somerset, but I'm not
y-
sure about that.
yes, Somerset, and I think there's a fourth one, but I can't remember. But yes,
It,
it came with
it's been
all the
around a
big
few years,
DLCs.
and it's been around a few years, and they've added a lot of stuff elsewhere too. I think you might have elsewhere.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, yes. Not else,
Uh,
WHERE, but
Elsewhere, where the cat
else.
people are from.
Yeah, I think it's elsewhere. But okay, yeah, all right. I'm glad we got that straightened out. We've dipped our toes into it, and I'm enjoying it. Like I said, it's very Skyrim-esque, and it takes place in a world that I love. It's one of my Elder Scrolls is one of my favorite fictional
Universes,
worlds.
yes.
Yes, so I'm looking forward to getting more into it.
You can do it at any time, Stiz, because you don't need us to do things. Because we can't figure out how to fucking share quests anyways.
Yes, that's definitely something we need to figure out. But in my quest to play games that are really, really old, but I just never played them before, I've been playing a lot of Kingdoms of Amalur, and it's similar type. It's high fantasy, so I've been getting
This is.
I've been
I'm
scratching
sorry.
my fantasy itch with Amalur at the moment. So
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is the re-reckoning, as they call it, which is the HD upgrade for this current generation of a game that was originally on the 360 and PS3. In what 2012, I think we looked at it, early 2012 it came out.
yes, I believe so. Yes, yep.
Uh, that game was cursed from the beginning, and not entirely because Kurt Schilling was heavily involved, but because he borrowed a lot of money from the state of Rhode Island, and they said, well, it's not making the money that you said it would, so we're just going to buy the property. And for years and years, literally, the state of Rhode Island owned the rights to the Kingdom of Amalur franchise, such as it was. So then a few years ago, THQ Nordic bought the rights, and they said, well, we're just going to HD port the thing and maybe make new ones because they own it now and they can do whatever they want. Because when THQ folded a few years ago, they split off into like three different companies, and one of them is Nordic. And all Nordic has done for the last 5 years is buy up old properties.
Yeah,
Uh, and
there's a recent one they I don't know if they bought up or released a game too. God, I just heard it the other day. I'm sorry, but you're right. Yeah,
no, it's fair.
they've been very active. THQ Nordic has. Yeah, that was a wild ride. That development cycle. Well, not even development. It was after the game came out, and
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know if the re-reckoning it's a remaster, so I can't remember what rules we made for remasters. Whether they may be the same as DLC, where they can be in your list of
yeah.
games of that year, but
To me, a remaster is different than a remake. Like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake are completely new games from scratch. A remaster is we upres the graphics because from what well, the little bit that I have played, because I played the fuck out of it on last gen, Amalur on this gen is the same game, just a little bit prettier. There's like they haven't changed anything.
as far as I can tell, yeah, I've watched videos of it on the previous gen, and yes, it looks like
Mhm.
it's same game, same graphics, whatnot. Well, not you know, uh, they've just been upresed,
Higher res, yeah.
and maybe the sound might have been tweaked and made clearer, whatnot. But
But you are enjoying it more importantly.
yeah, I am. I'm about heck. think 70 hours in, something like that. So I've played a big chunk of it, and I still got from what I can tell on the parts of the map I've been to, I still got quite a ways to go. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think when we were talking off the air about it, I think you summarized it pretty well in that it's generic. And that's not a bad. I don't mean that in a bad way. Um, if somebody who was not familiar with the RPG genre asked me for a good starting point, I that might be one of my recommendations.
Yeah.
Um, if
As
they,
opposed to like a Final Fantasy, Rob.
I think Seven Remake's a good, because they're both action RPGs.
Okay.
Um, in fact, if you want to transition into Seven Remake, although before they do that, do you mind if I ask y'all something? What,
Yeah, you just did.
ask you something else, I guess. What, well, none of us have PS5, so we haven't been able to
No.
play any of the games on there. And one of the games that came out was Demon Souls. Now, it seems like everywhere you look, people are classifying the Demon Souls on PS5 as a remake, but I don't think it is. I think it's a little more than a
It
remaster, but I
it
think
is in a weird middle area in that it is a from the ground remake, but it is exactly the same game in terms of placement. Uh, Here's something you're more familiar with, Stizzy. You played the original Resident Evil 2 way back when, right?
yes.
So you know basically the layout of that building, of the RPD headquarters and the lab and all that shit.
Hmm.
In the remake, even though they are taking from an existing thing, enough stuff has been moved around that it's totally original. There's stuff in the remake that was not in the original. As far as Demon Souls is concerned, nothing has changed except they've built it on a new engine.
Yeah, it's just a lot prettier. But as
Yes,
far as I know, because I didn't play it in last gen, the original
I did.
release. As far as I've heard, the combat's the exact same, so
Yes.
it's just remastered at that point, correct? Essentially.
Yeah, again, it's the first game we've had in a middle area where they started coding from the ground it's ground up, but from the ground up they made the game again, but they made the same game again.
Yeah, usually when you're moving a game from one engine to another, you're twiddling with a lot of things besides graphics. Usually uh, messing with the core of the game, but they just this game, Demon Souls, just pretty much just took it and moved it to an engine and just made it look better, and it looks amazing. I haven't played it, but I've seen screenshots and videos, and it looks amazing. But I don't know, that was kind of that kind of bugged me. People were just kind of treating it like a totally remade, brand new game when it's essentially not.
It's not really. No, they just remade it on a new engine. Like the upcoming Ghost and Ghouls remaster or remake is technically the same game again, but on a new engine.
Yeah, and I think that alien game, what is it, Destroy All Humans? I think that's
Yes.
essentially, uh, I think combat and gameplay on there is essentially the same. It's just a
Hmm.
better looking game. Crash Bandicoot, that's another one. Uh,
Yes.
the Crash games are, well, they play the same way. But the controls are a little smoother and more
The word
responsive
they
than they
like to
were.
use, the word companies like to use is modernized.
Yes, yeah, it's modernized for the new age and the new gamer. But
Like the upcoming remaster of the Mass Effect trilogy, which includes Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, because that's how trilogies work. Um, we're looking forward to this, right? The remake that we're just going to shell out money for of games we've played already.
I bet your ass, I'm looking forward to it. Rob?
You bet Miranda's ass you're looking forward to it.
Well, I wouldn't bet Miranda's ass because you're not gonna see it anymore. Hey,
Well, you can see it anytime you want. It's not like you can't. It's not like you can't take her on a party and
yeah,
just.
but I want to
I don't.
see it in
Okay,
4K
hold on.
in
Before
60 FPS.
There was a rumor and some actual confirmation that BioWare is desexualizing. This is not the right word. Desexualizing a couple of scenes in this game to make them less cheesecakey, let's say. And
I've
there's
never
various
heard that term before,
controversies
but
around
sure.
that. I know, because it's not the word. Uh, to make it less, offensive to what modern journalistic standards are, and I use that word on purpose.
Now,
Um,
I was gonna say,
Now, hold on.
sorry.
Now, I'm not in any way a fan of censorship of any kind, especially of speech. And for remastering a game, it should all you really needs to do is clean it up and make sure it runs, and you really shouldn't fuck with stuff. But Miranda's but let's be real that we don't play the game for the tiny snippets of sex scenes or brief side butt shots of nudity. That is not why all three of us love the Mass Effect series. So for them to cut that out, yes, you're losing a little bit, but in the grand scheme of the whole Shepard trilogy, it doesn't really matter all that much.
I concur with that analysis. I don't really care.
Yeah, it's
Like
it,
I like Miranda the character, and I would probably romance her again in this new thing. And if I don't get to see her butt as often, who gives a fuck? That's not why I'm playing the game.
I like Liara anyway, so it doesn't matter.
And you're a tallymancer, Stizzy. You can't lie to me
uh
and say you care about this.
yeah, I mean I mean if we're comparing butts, then Tally takes home the blue ribbon, in my opinion. But it it's not like her buttocks are they're it's not like they're changing them, making it flatter or whatnot. It's still going to be the
From
same
what I've seen, they're
glorious
literally
ass.
raising the cam. Literally raising the camera angle. That's it.
Yeah, I the offending camera angle during the specific conversation that it occurs, because I went back and I watched the scene, and
Yes, yes.
she's talking about her sister, her family, and it's very heavy stuff that she's talking about. So the the butt shot is and during the conversation is kind of out of place. So
This is this is one of those things of where normally I'm 100% against this kind of thing, but in this instance, because it's Mass Effect, I'm willing to give it a lot of
Because
leeway.
you're
It's
a
like, all right,
fanboy.
fine. Yes, I am. I try my hardest to stay consistent, but all three of us agree that these three games are some of the best stuff ever. And to get to experience it in the upres generation, and eventually, I'm sure we're all going to get the next gen systems and play them again on those next gen systems as well. Well, if we have to lose a couple of butts, oh well, that's the price we're willing to pay.
Agreed.
Yeah, yeah,
Agreed.
okay,
I couldn't put it
great,
any better myself.
good. We had a small technical problem there that hopefully I will edit out. So, Stizzy, you had something?
yes. Leaving Miranda's butt behind, as sad as that is. I am looking forward to this remaster. I think we determined it's a remaster. It's
Yes.
graphics are being enhanced or touched up, if you will, and I think some gameplay changes are being made, mostly to the first game, Mass Effect One.
Yeah, I did see a video of this. It is basically the three's interface, the HUD, on one and two.
Yeah, they seem to have gone with a universal UI and HUD,
Mhm.
which is good. Although I did kind of have a soft spot for the Mass Effect One original HUD. It kind of reminded me of Halo, um, the early
Yeah.
days, with the kind of the HUD or the font or what have you on Halo. But yeah, I think it's a good look. It's very simple, and I believe they've made some changes to the squad AI and the commands you can give them, or at least I believe the squad mates are more, uh, I guess
Useful.
smarter. Yeah, smarter, useful. They will get into cover. They'll better. I don't know how to phrase that. Like,
No, they're just better. There's no real way to explain
yeah, they're
the sentiment.
more responsive. They'll actually go wherever you point them, and they change the camera when you're aiming. It's not as quite as zoomed in. I never loved it, but I never hated it. I've learned online these last few days there are some people that really hated that Mass Effect 1 aim down sights camera, and it wasn't great because it is super zoomed in, but it does look better now. It's not Shepard's head isn't quite taking up quite as much room in the camera in the field of view.
Yeah, well, the whole FOV is wider anyway, so
So some very nice quality of life changes that I'm happy
certainly.
to see. I would have been okay. I would have been okay just playing one again with straight up better graphics. Oh, and the I think the Mako or the Mako, however you want to say it, has seen some improvements as well with
Did anybody say Mako?
Barrett from Final Fantasy VII, and that's literally it.
I believe it's pronounced Mako, the vehicle in Mass Effect.
Yeah, because the Shirk.
I think I've heard that the controls are supposed to be tighter. The fit.
This is. Do you remember, Stiz, how you used to say this that you never thought that Navi from Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time was a problem until the internet told you it was a problem?
Oh yeah.
Uh, I never realized the Mako driving was a problem until the internet told me it was a problem. This is not something I ever had an issue with.
No, and I never really did either. Because I think the way it controls in the base game, the vanilla game, is I think the way that BioWare envisioned a land vehicle to control on a planet or a moon with lower atmosphere. I think they wanted to emulate that. And but since you're going to all these different systems and planets, all with their own different gravity, you can't. There's no way to make it feel different on every single planet. So you just kind of have to go with the one that feels the most spacey, if that makes sense. I think that's just me. That's just how I think. Just trying to predict, what or not predict, but trying to explain what their thought process when they originally were designing the Mako, I think. But in
Yep.
this remaster trilogy, they've supposedly tightened up the controls, changed the physics of it, I guess so it's less floaty, if you will. But
Yeah, tighter, more responsive.
yeah,
Yes.
I like you, I never really had a problem with the original, but I'm looking forward to see how different how it is different. So I'm looking forward to playing Mass Effect again. I have
Yes.
wanted to
Of
go.
course.
I've wanted to get back into the series for a while, and this is the perfect excuse.
The original trilogy ended in 2012. The new consoles came in 2013, and they've never, until literally the last fucking moment, said, "All right, fine, we'll remaster one of our most popular things."
Yeah, it was one of those things you had to figure they were gonna do it. It's just like you said before. It's like printing money. There's no
Yeah.
reason.
Why wait so
Yeah,
long?
well, why wouldn't you ever do it? I think there's been a lot of chaos surrounding BioWare in the last few years. They've had some.
A lot of negative reception to a lot of the things they've released. I think is the kindest, nicest way we can say that without getting into specifics.
Yeah, they've had some IPs that didn't perform as
Mhm.
well as they thought they would, and they've had a lot of people leaving their various studios, and just a lot of things up in the air. So I think it's that's kind of that contributed to this delay for this trilogy.
And down the road, the eventual, tentatively titled Dragon Age 4, even though there was only one game ever that was numbered. So they're still gonna make things in the future.
Maybe the even ones. are going to be numbered, and
Well, that's a
the
good point.
odd Dragon Ages won't be. Um, but yeah, this is definitely a lot of things have been felt like they've been going wrong with BioWare. Um, some of them, some of it is their fault,
Yeah.
but I think this is a pretty much a safe bet. This feels like I don't know if this is fair to say, but this almost feels like uh, I don't want to say this almost feels like the like a sure thing for them. Um,
You
let's
don't want to jinx them.
well,
No, okay. I'll wrap it up better, Stiz. Don't worry about this. So, at the next year's NPD call, they're going to make a fuck ton of money from re-releasing the Mass Effect thing, especially from all three of us. So they got at least 180 bucks from us.
Probably more from you if you buy it on multiple consoles.
I will buy it on multiple consoles
is
because
is it gonna be
I
60?
can't help myself.
Um,
I don't actually know.
Probably. I
It
mean, I
might
would
be 50.
assume. If it's 3 games, I can't imagine they would do it for less than 60.
Yeah.
and all the DLC. Well, besides what is it? Bring Down the Sky is missing.
Also, we keep calling it uh, remaster remake. They're specifically calling it Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Yeah,
I don't know
I,
why, but they
it's
are.
just a more epic sounding name. I think it just
Yeah.
sounds better than Mass Effect Remastered.
$60 May 14th.
$60? Okay. Plus, Mass Effect Remastered makes you think, okay, is it just the first game that's
The
remastered,
first one. Yeah, yeah,
and 2 and 3 are not? Whereas
yeah.
the name Legendary Edition, it's the whole trilogy. It's been
It's
touched up
the
all
whole
over.
legend of Ship-Shape Shepard ever since he was just a lowly commander and then he ends up being a higher commander.
Yeah, he didn't get promoted in all that time. The whole trilogy. He's just,
Or she. I'm not going to judge how you play your deal.
or she, or of
Now,
course, yeah. Excuse me.
I am going to judge you real quick because this is the opportunity, fellas. It's been years since you've played it. This is the one time you can make someone different. You can make a different class. You can romance someone different. You can make different choices. Will you actually do this? That sounds like a no.
I think. Oh, romancing is hard. Everything's hard.
Yes, it sure
I
goddamn
like
is.
this.
You're right.
I really like the soldier, but I might switch it up and do maybe like an infiltrator run through the trilogy. I never played. I actually only played Vanguard in the first game, and then I played Vanguard first for my first playthrough of Mass Effect 2, and then I switched to Soldier. And I love Soldier so much I played that for the rest of 2 and then 3. So Infiltrator I think might be an interesting class to play. In terms of choices, I can't be a dick. It's just
Oh my god, you're such a little
I
bitch.
especially can't do it in 3, knowing the choices you make in 3. And I don't want to half-ass it. Like if I'm gonna be Renegade, I'm gonna go full Renegade, but I can't do that.
Oh, come on. It's fine.
Ugh,
I think,
I can't do it.
I think the only class I have not played through all three Mass Effect games is the Engineer. Although technically in 3, you just kind of mix and match, do whatever you want. Um, the 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 Paragon Renegade system is so great, and I think it's to this day I think it's the best karma system around because it's not just think.
Good. It's not good evil.
Yeah, well, no, it's not even that. I like the Paragon and Renegade actions. It's not just lines of dialogue in a conversation, saying something nice or just being a dick. It's, hey, I'm a Paragon, but this fucking reporter is really annoying. I'm gonna punch the shit out of her, and I do that every single time,
That's
as
awful.
I think
I've
most Mass Effect players do.
never once puzzled Khaleesi bin Sint Al Jilani. I never ever did it
What?
in all my playthroughs. I've never punched out Khaleesi bin Sint Al
Oh,
Jilani.
well, here's your
I don't
chance.
hate
Here's your
her
chance this
for
new
doing
game.
her job.
No, no,
It is
no,
her
no.
This is
job
your
to
chance to
be
change
critical.
your playthrough.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
You better
Sure, as
punch
soon
her.
as you,
I'll be
hey,
disappointed
hey,
if you don't
buddy,
punch
Put
her
your
in the
money
hey,
where
face.
your mouth is.
you kill Rex and I'll do it.
Oh, that's not happening. So
Well, Well,
Kill him. Go ahead. Shoot him in the head.
I've already killed him. I think I've already made most of every choice in all these games. I've replayed them so
You
much.
killed Morden, you piece
Yeah,
of.
yeah. I killed Morden. Killed Rex.
Well, I
I
thought we were friends, but I guess not anymore.
I re-sterilized the Krogan. Um. Oh yeah, I went.
Spoilers for
Wait.
15-year-old.
So you must have betrayed Tali.
Um. Yeah, I think she killed herself in my Renegade playthrough.
Wow, your own love
Um.
interest. You
You know
freaking.
that one was kind of weird because I didn't know who to screw over more, the Quarians or the Geth. Like,
Well, that's one of those situations where you're both fucking idiots. You know that? We're trying to have a real war, and your proxy bullshit is getting in my way.
yeah, that was one instance where I was like, man, I love you, Tally, but your people are fucking stupid. For one of supposedly supposed to be one of the smarter races around, y'all are dumbasses.
They're too smart for their own good.
That's all of 3, isn't it? You go to the Turian places, like, you Turians are idiots.
You Solarians are dumbasses.
Yeah, pretty much. You go to every planet, and it's like, I'm only ever human.
This is the Krogan
Uh,
homeworld? No wonder they sterilize you fucks. You just go around
yeah.
killing each other.
You also go to the Asari homeworld, and they mostly get killed off through not your action. But
Oh, they were just hiding a Prothean beacon. Like, oh, they're all high and mighty and enlightened. They got a fucking heads up on the rest of the races.
why do we love this dumb
I love
series?
it so much. I can't wait to play it again. But to answer your question, Loki, well, sorry, I went on a tangent. I don't. I honestly think I'll probably make mostly the same decisions as I would in a regular Paragon run. As far as class goes, I have no idea. But I think I might romance Miranda this time around. Because
Yes, humanist.
I don't think I ever have. On my Renegade playthrough, I believe I romanced Jack, but I don't know if I've ever romanced Miranda. So I may give that a try. But I'm looking forward to it.
And Rob is an Asari lover entirely. Won't ever deviate.
That's
He's a
not
winner.
true. My original playthrough of the Mass Effect trilogy was Ashley, Miranda, Liara. Actually, no, I think it was actually
Jeez.
Miranda, and then I switched from Miranda to Liara in 3.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
jumped
hey,
around. My
he's got
God.
a lot of love to give.
Um,
What
I
kind of
don't
harem bullshit
I don't
isekai
know.
crap is this?
All right, well, the hardest part is going to be deciding in 2 because I want to try Liara, but she's not in the main game. She's only in the DLC, so it's like you're going to go through the whole game without a romance. It's very sad. It's very sad. But maybe I can do it. I can do it. I can be strong. The first game is the problem because Liara is boring. Let's be honest. Liara is very boring in that game.
Wow. Oh, just in the
She's
first game. Okay. Yeah.
she's a very boring personality. Um, but they make her a lot more interesting in the following games. So I might stick with Leah Ashley there, because that's the only game that she's
Why don't
actually tolerable in.
I got an idea. Here's an idea. Why don't you both be female shepherd and romance one of the men?
No, I'm not gonna be sorry, but I'm not gonna be femship.
Live a little. My God, I've done that, and I'm the straightest straight that ever been
I can't
straighted.
picture. To me, Commander Shepard is the guy who plays him. I use the default skin. To me, that's what Commander Shepard looks like.
Well, now this time
I
you
can't
can
ever picture something else.
use the default Finship, the short hair, red hair version.
I love Jennifer Hale, but I don't want to do that.
I've seen the image of the new default Finship in Mass Effect 1, but is there I'm assuming there's going to be one for 2, right? Because
They're all the same.
They'd
They're
be
all
all
the
the
same.
same, yeah.
yeah, cuz I don't think they added the default Finship until 3.
That is
Is
correct. They
that
started
correct?
marketing.
You're
They
right.
only ever marketed the male Shepherd in the first 2 games.
Right. I cuz on this legendary edition screenshots I've only seen image of her from 1, not 2, so it'll look the same, I'm guessing, but yeah, I've played as Finship before. Yeah, Romance Garrus. Yeah.
I would romance
Even though
Garrus, but
I went from bromance to
Eh.
romance.
As the only guy who has played a gay shepherd, let me tell you, you dudes are missing out.
Are there really
On
any
who? Jacob or what's his face? Who's the other guy?
Cortez?
In three. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve.
I mean, he's fine, but no, that's about it. That's all I have to say about Cortez.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, wait, who's Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character in three?
James Vega, he's
Vega.
not
He's
gay.
not gay. He probably is though. But let's.
He's not?
No.
He's compensating for something.
Wow, that's gonna be
Would
edited
you,
out.
I didn't even hear what he said.
No, what you said, buddy.
Oh, sorry. Um, what would be harder for y'all, to romance someone new or to not romance anyone?
Oh, go a celibate
Not
playthrough.
romance anyone. Yeah.
That
You've
would be hard.
you've done that?
I have actually, and it was a lot of like getting back to the Miranda's ass controversy. That's not the point of the game. The romances are not the point of the game, but it's a nice bonus
Well, it's
to
not the
be
point.
like,
I mean,
well, we're gonna
if
die
you think
tomorrow.
about it, the point of
Let's
the game
have a nap.
is developing relationships with characters, and that is part of it.
Yes, it is.
It helps fill out the world. One of my favorite parts of 3, not so much in 2, but 3, I just liked seeing all the after a mission, seeing going around the ship and seeing all the crew members in different places and interacting with other members and doing different shit and all that and just talking to them. And if you romance a character, has extra dialogue and extra significance, and I really enjoyed that in 3. That was a fun part of it. Yeah,
And
I don't know
now,
if I
go
was gonna say, to answer my own question, I don't know if I could go through a whole playthrough not romancing anybody, but I have thought of it. But I would, if I did it, I think I would just be like a big fucking tease, just flirt with everybody, man, woman, alien, dog, doesn't matter.
and then when it gets time to get to business, you're like, nah,
It's like, oh, shoo,
I'll just
look at
play
the
in.
time, we got collectors to
I'll just
destroy.
play in.
We don't got time for this.
Here's the real question regarding the legendary edition. Will they change the ridiculously slow elevators from Mass Effect 1?
I hope not.
They have they've talked about this, or they've tweeted about this. There is an option to skip them,
Yes.
and if you want to listen to them, you can.
Awesome.
Oh, damn.
So I think that's a good compromise for everybody,
Yeah.
because I really like those elevator conversations. They're a lot of fun, even though they reused a lot of dialogue with the same squad mates. But
It was 2007. There were loading screens. I don't know if you kids remember.
that's, yeah, I think they did a very good job, giving everybody what they want.
Okay, to put a nice bow on this, we are looking forward to the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I fucking love Mass Effect Andromeda, and anyone who doesn't can eat a dick. Do we have anything else on the docket here?
Well, I thought we might go more in depth in our what I put as my 2 games of generations. I would put.
I don't want to talk too much about Final Fantasy VII. I mean, I do, but Rob is in the early stages of playing it, so there's only so much we can say without spoiling it.
Yeah, no, if you're exactly right, I don't want to get too much into it, but and I'll just say it's a fantastic game. I think it's a great remake, top to bottom, and I really, really hope I don't have to wait too long for the next part. But it's gonna take a while for this.
15's got to come, or excuse me, 16's got to come out
Yeah, and I'm
first.
looking forward to that too, because even though I never played Final Fantasy 14, apparently the expansions for that have been phenomenal, and the guy who has written most of the expansions is at the helm, head writer for 16. So, um,
Here's how we can talk about a nice segue into Ghost of Tsushima, if I can. Um, Speaking of all those moral choices, you guys both made the wrong moral choice at the end of Ghost of Tsushima.
Um, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, you did.
Mm-mm.
That old man wanted to die with honor, and instead you let him live in
He was
dishonor.
confused.
You let him be a miserable whelp who couldn't even harakiri. He couldn't go do that. Dishonorable non-samurai. You did that to him. Think about that. The man who raised you. How dare you? My
Well,
God.
we spent the whole game disobeying his orders and his throwing away his teachings anyway, so I think it was par for the course at that point.
Yes, but it's not your honor you were saving. It was his.
In seriousness, I think there's an argument made for both decisions. And it's one I probably looked at the screen for 5 minutes trying to decide what to do because, like you, Loki, I thought, okay, it's obvious he wants to die. He wants to die by my hand. He wants to go out as a samurai with what little honor, or dignity, or whatever he has left. But then I thought, okay, we talked about this off air, but the things you do as throughout the game as Jin Sakai, the ghost, from a certain point of view, they can be seen as very dishonorable. If you're like him, you've been raised as a samurai and you living by that samurai code. They,
Such as it
yeah,
is, yes.
they have a certain way of life. They engage enemy combatants in a certain manner on the field of battle, face to face. Um, Although I think I don't know, it's kind of hypocritical when they also teach archery. So it's like, okay, you want to kill someone face to face, do it the old way, but shooting them from 200 yards away, that's okay. Anyway,
As long as they're looking at you.
yeah,
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 that's
I get
fair,
it.
as long as they know you're
So what if I
there.
shoot the arrow and then he turns around and it hits him in the back?
Nope,
What
dishonorable.
if you
You
shoot it
lose
up
honor
in the air
points.
so he forgets that it actually is coming back down and then it hits him?
Oh yeah.
Dishonor, you got renegade points.
Damn. Shoot. I can't. I guess it's not a foolproof system. But
It's a wonder why it doesn't work.
but as Jin Sakai, your main objective, the thing you want to do the most is save your island from the Mongols, protect its citizens, whatever means are necessary. And yeah, he does some pretty questionable stuff, no doubt. We I talked earlier about squeamish deaths in video games, and the
Yeah,
first time I used the poison darts in Ghost of Tsushima, and you're just looking at the Mongol choking on their own blood for a good hell, like 10, 15 seconds, then they finally collapse and die. I said, holy shit, the first time I did that
that's
in the game.
awesome. Oh,
It was awesome, but I was just like, damn, that is gruesome. Um, but at the end of the day, it's just like, I don't think he doesn't put any innocents in danger. He doesn't burn villages to the ground or anything like that to stall the Mongols. I don't think he does anything super shady. Now, a lot of that is virtue of being a main character in a video game, and you know he goes through his ups and downs, but a lot of things go his way. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to kill. I didn't want to kill his uncle. That's it just it's like I thought, okay, what is you dying? How does that help anybody?
It doesn't. There you go.
if he lives, he can he can find a
He can
new.
help you in Ghost of Tsushima too.
Yes, yeah, he can help you in the
Propel the next
sequel.
Mongol invasion.
Probably
so you carry over your save to the mainland of Japan.
yes, and then he can regain his honor like Zuko from Avatar. So
Yeah, well, again, I have to respect your opinion, but I disagree in the strongest possible terms. And not just because of the usual "ha, I'm a dick" kind of reasoning.
Honestly, I might have killed Shimura if I just didn't like him. But I did. I really liked his character. I didn't like Jin. I didn't agree with his uh, approach to the Mongol invasion and how best to resolve it. But
If I can call back earlier without too much in depth, Rob, you said that it's Last of Us 2 is emotionally taxing because well, it's very dark and dark themes. Uh, Ghost of Tsushima goes into a lot of dark themes, but I never felt it get into the depressing territory to where you just feel like a piece of shit playing it. It managed to have a dark adult storytelling without everyone being a sad sack. Well, everyone but Jin.
I think that's true, but it's also because it's a lot of open world, and when you're not
It's a
in
different
the
kind of
middle
game.
of
Yes.
when you're not in the
Yes.
middle of fighting a bunch of Mongols who are killing villagers and whatnot, you're out in the open world exploring this beautiful island, so
Yeah.
it's easy to let the darkness go for a little bit. But it is definitely a sad game in certain parts. But yeah, I liked Lord Shimmer's character too, and it was interesting because he's all about honor and whatnot. But then you can see with like any system like that with honor, even everybody's got their limits. So like even in the moment in the game where I can't remember exactly where it happens, but he's like he wants you to give up on what's the thief's name?
Yuna.
Yuna. He wants you to give up Yuna and like say blame her for all of the stuff that you've done. But
Yeah.
like that's not an honorable action, but he's suggesting it because he wants to save Jin. So everybody's got their lines. They're willing to cross, even if it's not honorable.
yeah, because normally he wouldn't advocate for something like that because Lord Shimura, that is, because um, he loved the island and he loved its people and he felt a great sense of duty and responsibility to protect them. And Yuna is a citizen, but yeah, in that instance, yeah, he wanted to save his nephew because he knew when all was said and done, the shogun from the mainland was going to come and they're going to say, ask him, hey, who's this ghost fella that's, you know, staining the good samurai name? We gotta execute them. So yeah, he wanted to save his nephew.
It's yeah. I don't know. I don't have a good wrap up.
It's to yeah to kind of expand on what Rob was saying about being able to escape the heavier themes of the game. This game, it's one of the one of the open worlds, one of the few open worlds the last few years that I've just been able to easily escape into, and it's extremely peaceful. Just walking around the island, and
On your horse or chasing a
yeah,
fox.
or doing some of the activities around, making a fucking haiku. I didn't think that'd be one of my favorite parts of the game, but it
I love
is.
that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I love that.
those are cool.
It's just something very, very zen about this game.
I
Uh,
will say my one complaint about that with the open world thing is just I felt like there was too many instances where there's like Mongols roaming
Just
around the free
roaming
world
the
that
area.
like
Yeah.
interrupt. So it's like I wish I had more of those moments where I was just exploring and like looking at the environment and going around finding like the haikus and stuff. But it felt like almost every time there's like two or three instances in between those points where it's like, oh, I gotta go deal with these Mongols that have these villagers they're executing or something. It's like, oh, can't you guys just go away and go back to raiding? Go raid Eastern Europe or something, please.
See, I know I know what you're saying, and that was a very annoyance for me too. But actually, I didn't mind it too terribly much because the Mongols felt like a black eye on the beauty of Tsushima, and every time I saw them, it lit a fire inside me that just compelled me to eradicate them from the face of the island.
So what happened with me in that same instance was I ignored them and went the other way and said, "Fuck it, I don't need this right now."
Well, after about 80 hours of gameplay, maybe more, I started probably doing that as well.
I just
Yeah,
did it a lot
so
earlier
did
than
I.
you did.
Yeah,
Rob was like, "No, there's too many Mongols." I was like, "You don't have to fight them. Fuck them."
and that's what I also did with the boars and stuff. Like once you get enough of the predator hides or whatever, then you're just like, oh, I don't even need to bother with you guys.
Yeah, that's one thing I did stop doing with the Mongol random encounters was I stopped doing a standoff every time because that just took up way too much time eventually, and I ended up just running into the fray and taking them all out in an instant. Because the standoffs are amazing and they're awesome and they're a cool callback to the Kurosawa films that this game takes heavy inspiration from.
Yes.
Uh, but after your 500th or so, you kind of just want to keep things rolling. Just get to the next objective.
It's a street fight in Yakuza.
Yeah, although Yakuza still I think has more encounters because I would in Yakuza I would fight a group of enemies and then there were times where I took literally 2 steps and there would be another group right there challenging me. And I'd be like, "Really? Really guys? Come on. Give me a break here."
All right. That's a nice heavy bow in 2020 and some look forwards to later this year. Do we have anything else from this already long reunion show?
Um I know we didn't talk about one of the big stories of 2020 and that's Cyberpunk, but I kind of want to leave that for a later show because
Yes, because none of us have played it nearly enough to give opinions on it.
yeah, that too. Plus the whole saga, if you want to call it that, is still unfolding as we speak.
Yes, the controversy of whether or not it was ready when it was shipped. I mean, obviously it wasn't ready when it was shipped, but whether or not it should have been shipped and should have been delayed is it's not something I have time and really want to get into right now, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's probably gonna need its own show entirely. Um, once we all get into that or you play the game and talk about the background stuff after all that, because well, we can make a separate show about all of that.
Again, yeah, we said at the beginning of this episode, it's like we're in the transitional period where like Assassin's Creed Valhalla technically came out in 2020, and I played it and loved it, but I'm sure it'll be better on the next gen, so I kind of want to count that as a next gen game. I think the same for Cyberpunk. It's like this is probably going to run a fuck of a lot better when I get my Series X. I bet it's going to look better for sure.
Yeah, yeah, but who knows when the next gen patches will come out? But because like I said, there's still stuff going on. They're still patching bugs and going through all these technical stuff and real life stuff. So like I said, gonna want to. I do eventually want to talk that later on the date, but yeah, 2020, like you said, despite all the troubles and all the challenges of the year, there were some great games that came out.
Yes.
Rob,
What?
I was just saying I didn't know if Rob wanted to add his 2 cents here to wrap things up.
I agree. It was a good year. Well, it was a good year for playing old games and some new games. And I'm glad to be back with the internet's worst podcast after a
Yes, and
brief
for the
hiatus.
future, brief, and for the future of this here internet radio show podcast, are you guys going to try to come back or what? Need some more a thing again?
I want to.
Because I never stopped.
Yeah, you never left. Um,
Yeah.
I want to. I wouldn't say I made a New Year's resolution or anything like that to make more podcasts, star more episodes, whatnot. But I definitely want to. I I guess the only reason I've been gone for so long is just because of 2020. It's a lot of shit went down, and I know if I really wanted to, I could have come back sooner, but I just never did. It's laziness. That's all it is. Just pure laziness.
I'm not. I don't blame you at all, Sis.
No, but I blame myself. I
Okay,
shouldn't have
good.
He
left it
blames me
so long.
mostly.
Good. I'm glad you blame yourself because I do blame Rob because I know he won't blame himself.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't say blame myself. I know it's because I don't Is it harsh to say I don't care?
I,
um,
I appreciate your
No, that's
candor.
fair. That's fair.
I will be back, sure. I'm happy to do more podcasts.
Well, we'll see if I invite you back, fucker.
Fine.
It's like, oh, hey, did you and Stizzy record a show? No, what are you talking about? Well, it's here on my feed. No, it isn't.
It's just a figment of your imagination.
I forgot to say this in the last episode, but you can find me still amazingly on Twitter at Loki Jarson. You can't find these other two; they're gone. They left.
Twitter, yeah, I did leave. Well, that's a lie. I do have an account, but
Not with your
yeah,
name.
if you try to contact me on that account, you won't be getting a
So if you want to
response.
get mad at him, you have to be mad at him through me, the proxy.
Yeah, you like how I set that up?
Yeah,
It's
thanks
pretty
so
smart,
much.
yeah.
And no one's ever mad at Rob, except
It's
me.
true because I have perfect opinions on everything.
Uh-huh, sure do. Now let's go off air so I can yell some more about Skip to my fucking Lou. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.